Jaguars fans, welcome back to the Fan Cave. Man, this is going to be another exciting video. We just wrapped up an incredible best defensive line tandem in franchise history series. This one's going to be more focused on the upcoming season. This one's going to be 3 different Jaguar players you should be watching in training camp to really make a big name for themselves going into the regular season. So let's roll right into player number 1. All right, Jaguars fans, the first player on this list is going to be the wide receiver, undrafted out of the University of Illinois, transferred from USC to Illinois. It's Josh Imatorpe. You know, his stat line isn't incredible, but when you watch his tape, he stands out as a super electric player. You know, you think about the great wide receivers in Jaguars history. You think Jimmy Smith, Keenan, even Allen Robinson to expense. Speaking of Allen, you know, you want to talk about being able to high point a ball. He's one of the best in the league currently at it. When you watch Josh Imatorpe's tape, it literally looks like a younger Allen Robinson. He goes up and gets the ball like no one else's business. He's a great possession receiver, but also has down the field ability. He had 12 touchdowns in 17 games while at the University of Illinois. Ultimately didn't play a whole lot, but I believe if he can catch a little bit of fire in training camp, he might be able to roll that through the preseason and find himself as like the last wide receiver possibly on this Jacksonville Jaguar squad. Definitely keep your eye out for him. I think he's going to definitely get his name said a whole lot in the preseason. Maybe even has like a Victor Cruz kind of just like jump off the page where, man, we need to find him a roster spot kind of performance. I don't know, but I'd love to see him in the preseason. All right, Jaguars fans. Now this is going to be someone that most of you may be familiar with. He came out of the University of Alabama, undrafted free agent linebacker Dylan Moses. You know, if it wasn't for a nagging knee injury at the University of Alabama, Dylan Moses would have had his name called on day 1 or day 2 of the NFL draft. Unfortunately, did have those knee injuries, so he ended up slipping all the way out of the draft into the Jaguars' hands in undrafted free agency. Now, you want to talk about somebody that understands their role and a defense that is Dylan Moses. He is incredibly disciplined, knows where he needs to be at all times on the field. Over 190 tackles, over 20 tackles for loss, a couple forced fumbles as well. He knows how to get after the ball. He knows how to attack the ball. And the only downside is when he was at Alabama, he did play on the weak side. Who else plays weak side on the Jacksonville Jaguars? One of your favorite players, Myles Jack. Now, how hard would it be for Dylan Moses to actually push into the starting roster? Incredibly hard. But just like Josh Imatorpe, I believe Dylan Moses will absolutely find himself on the field at certain points in games, and then also a lot in the preseason, just because of his freakish athletic ability that he definitely did show in Alabama, which would have landed him a number 1 or number 2 draft pick if it hadn't been for his knee injury. But with that being said, let's roll right into number 3. Now, the number 3 player on this list is someone you probably all are familiar with. It's the defensive tackle out of USC, Tufele. Ultimately, whenever I started watching tape on Jay, he really stood out because it was there was one game in particular. 2 people that have had their name called within the top 15 in the last 2 drafts: Penei Sewell and Justin Herbert. You know who else went against Penei and Justin? Tufele. Tufele had a lot of tape going up against Penei Sewell, who was arguably one of the best left tackle prospects in recent history, and also going up against Justin Herbert. He harassed both of them all game long. Ultimately, Penei did win out most of the night. But the fact that Jay was still able to have success against a player of his caliber, that shows out very well for him. Now, he ultimately only did play his freshman and sophomore year, with 2020 in the Pac-12 not playing due to COVID complications. But overall, his metrics, every single one of them, his stat line got better from freshman year to sophomore year. We can only guess what would have happened from sophomore to junior, but there's a reason the Jaguars took him as high as they did. And if he continues to improve like he did from year 1 to 2 in college, I believe his year 1 in the NFL will be nothing short of electric. Now, that is my 3 players that I think you should be watching going into the Jaguars 2021 NFL training camp to make a name for themselves. Please let me know what you think down in the comments below, as I love to talk to you guys. If you did enjoy the video, please like it, share it, and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely. And without further ado, stay safe and go Jaguars.